Tayo ay umawit, masayang magbasa ng not at melodiya. Ritmo'y isayaw, katawan ay igalaw. I am Sir Noel, your music teacher. Let us learn music together. Let us learn music together.
Good morning, teachers and grade 6 learners. Welcome to another exciting episode of Valenzuela FB Live. I am Sir Noel from Marolas Central School, your teacher live streamer for today as we explore the colorful world of music. Before we start our lesson, please comment down your school, grade, and section. Class, there are some rules to follow while we are having our online class. First, find a comfortable and a quiet place. Next, be prepared and on time. Third, respect your teacher and your classmates. Next, participate actively. Last, be ready with your paper, pencil, and module. So, get your things, sit back, and let's start. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to describe the instrumental sections of the Western Orchestra, distinguishes various musical ensembles seen and heard in the community, use varied dynamics in a song performance like piano, mezzo piano, pianissimo, forte, mezzo forte, fortissimo, crescendo, and decrescendo. Now, let us take a look at this picture. What can you see in this picture? Yes, we can see that there are different musical instruments that we can use in producing different music. And also, there are varied musicians gathered in one place. Have you ever heard or seen this kind of gathering in a person? This is what we call the orchestra. The word orchestra refers to a group of musicians playing different musical instruments. Every musical instrument has a quality of sound from one to another, and this is what we call the timbre. Timbre is the color of sound produced by the voice and different instruments. Just like the human voice, it's a vital medium of expressions. Male and female voices can be classified according to the quality and range. We have soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. A large orchestra needs a conductor. As you can see, he guides the orchestra and directs the performances through his or her facial expressions, body movements, and gestures. Preparing the orchestra for a performance is a top job for a conductor. He or she reads and interprets music notations and make decisions on how to communicate the music with the desired tempo, volume, dynamics, and articulation. The orchestra is a large instrumental ensemble that contains the four family instruments: the string section, the woodwind section, brass section, and the percussion section. Now, let's study one by one the different sections of the orchestra. The first section of the orchestra is what we call the woodwind. This section generally has piccolo, clarinet, oboe, flute, saxophone, and bassoon. These are played by blowing into them and fingering different holes using keys that cover various holes. Most of them are made of wood and at least one piece of reed in the mouthpiece. Trumpet is the main instrument of the brass section, which has a brilliant and brassy sound. and it sounds like this. Trombone. Trombone is the only sliding bulbless instrument in the brass section that changes pitch in any key. Its range is quite a bit lower than the trumpet, and it sounds like this. French horn. French horn is a 12 feet long and sounds more mellow than the trumpet. It has a wide range that overlaps both the trumpet and trombone ranges, and it sounds like this. Tuba. Tuba is the largest in the brass section and has the lowest pitch, and it sounds like this. Another section of the orchestra is what we call the string. String instruments, traditionally, this is the largest section of the orchestra. This section generally carries the melody, and all are made up of wood and strings. These can be played by pluck or bow, or are often referred to as the heart of the orchestra because of its versatility and usefulness. Examples of these instruments are violin, viola, cello, harp, and double bass. Violin, the leader and the heart of the orchestra, played by moving the bow and 2/4 across the string. The violin is the smallest and highest pitched string instrument. A person who plays a violin is called violinist, and it sounds like this. Viola, a little larger than the violin. It is tuned a pip lower than the violin, and it sounds like this. Cello. Cello is larger than viola, held by player between his her knees and move the bow to and fro, and it sounds like this. Double bass. Double bass is largest among the string instrument that has the lowest pitch. The double bass has a similar structure to the cello, and it sounds like this. Harp. Harp is a string instrument that is played by plucking. Each string produces one note. The gradation of string length from short to long corresponding to that from high to low pitch, and it sounds like this. And now, the last section, the percussion family. Percussion instruments used to emphasize the rhythms, add excitement to the climatic passages, and provide a variety of special effects. These instruments, played by striking with sticks, mallets, or hammers, while others are through shaking or rubbing. There are two classes of percussion instruments. Number one is a pitch and the unpitched. Let us see to these examples. A pitch percussion, timpani known as a kettle drum. It produces a thunderous effect when played continuously. Xylophone. Xylophone, it can be a different length of wooden bars suspended on a frame 2 rows, representing the white and black keys of the piano. Example of music is this. The bass drum. Bass drum is the largest of the orchestra drums. It produces an awesome booming and thundering effect, and it sounds like this. Snare drum. Snare drum, it produces a dry rattling and crackling sound, and it sounds like this. Cymbals. Two round metals held by leather straps fastened through the holes in their central domes. They clash together with a sliding motion or struck by stick to make a sound, and it sounds like this. Other instruments are castanets, gong, tambourine, maracas, and triangle belong to the unpitched percussions. Now, let's take a closer look on the key terms of a group of percussion instruments. Pitched percussion instruments are timpani, glockenspiel, xylophone, marimba, vibraphone, celeste, tubular bells, while the unpitched percussion instruments are the following: cymbals, triangle, tom-tom, snare drums, and bass drums. Are you still there? Can I have a like or heart reaction in our comment box before we proceed? So, that's great. Thank you so much. Now, let's proceed to the next topic, the various musical ensemble seen and heard in the community. The first one is the musical ensemble. Musical ensemble is also known as a music group or musical group of people who perform instrumental or vocal music, with the ensemble typically known by a distinct name. Classical chamber music. Chamber music is a form of classical music that is composed for a small group of instruments, traditionally a group that could fit in a palace chamber or a large room. Choral groups. A group of singers who perform together. A group is called choir or chorus. Choir can sing with or without instrumental accompaniment. Singing without instrumental accompaniment is called a cappella singing. Choirs can contain males such as tenor, baritone, basses, and all female voices such as sopranos and altos. Remember, the orchestra is a large instrumental ensemble that contains sections of string, brass, woodwind, and percussion instruments. The main difference of the instruments is their size. As with in any instruments, the smaller it is, the higher pitch it plays, and the larger instruments, it's the lower pitch it plays. To see if you understood the lesson, let us answer these few items. Have your pen and paper ready? Choose the letter of the correct answer. The answer is A. Number 2. The answer is D. Number 3. The correct answer is C. Number 4. The answer is B. Percussion. And last, number 5. If your answer is D, double bass, you are correct. I hope you got it all correct. Now let us proceed to the next topic. Do you know what dynamic is? Dynamic is one of these elements that is used in creating a musical composition. Dynamic marks are used and it is written above or below the notes that are to be played loud or soft. It is a degree of loudness and softness of sound. It is very important to use dynamics because it gives life, meaning, and correct interpretation of the song. Composers use dynamics to change the mood. Sometimes, a piece will have a very few dynamics, and others will have many changes. Traditionally, dynamic markings are based on Italian words. Italian terms are used to describe dynamics. Each has its own abbreviation. The two basic dynamic indications in music are P or piano, meaning quiet or soft music. When reading music, you will typically see a P letter, telling the musicians to play this part of the piece quietly or smoothly. F is for forte. It is defined as a musical term for loud, and it comes from the Italian word for strong. More subtle degrees of loudness or softness are indicated by MP, standing for mezzo piano, meaning moderately quiet. MF, standing for mezzo forte, meaning moderately loud. PP or double P, standing for pianissimo, and meaning is very quiet. FF or double F, standing for fortissimo, and in meaning very loud. Triple P, triple piano, standing for pianissimo, and meaning very, very quiet. Triple F or triple forte, standing for fortissimo, and meaning very, very loud. Another Italian words are used to show gradual changes in volume, and these are crescendo as crest, translates as increasingly or literally growing. Decrescendo, abbreviated to decrease, translates as decreasing. Diminuendo, abbreviated dim, translates as diminishing. Take note Dynamic is the loudness and softness of tones. Different dynamics are used in a musical composition to give life, meaning, and beauty. Loud musics are generally associated with enthusiasm, chaos, and tension, while soft sounds are associated with repose, serenity, and calmness. Italian words are used to describe dynamics marking, such as piano, forte, mezzo piano, mezzo forte, pianissimo, pianissimo, fortissimo, fortissimo. And now, let us answer this. Let's get ready. Number 1. If your answer is B, you are correct. Number 2. The answer is C. Number 3. The answer is D, forte. Number 4. If your answer is A, you are correct. Number 5. If your answer is C, you are correct. I hope you got it all correct and this is a good job. You may now start answering the activities on your module for this lesson and make sure that you submit it to your subject teacher. That's all for today, kids. Once again, I'm Sir Noel from Marodas Central Elementary School.
Halina't makinig, tayo ay umawit, masayang magbasa ng note at melodiya. Ritmo'y isayaw, katawan ay igalaw. I am Sir Noel, your music teacher. Let us learn music together. Let us learn music together.